The Edo State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, sitting in Abuja, has declined to nullify the election of Governor Monday Okpebholo of the All Progressives Congress (APC). The Edo State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, sitting in Abuja, has declined to nullify the election of Governor Monday Okpebholo of the All Progressives Congress (APC). In a unanimous decision on Wednesday, a three-member panel of the tribunal led by Justice Wilfred Bochi equally refused to order the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to conduct a fresh governorship election in Edo State. The tribunal held that the prayer contained in a petition brought before it by the Accord Party (AP) and its gubernatorial candidates in the state could not be granted as the petitioners failed to discharge the burden of proof placed on them by the law. While striking out the petition for being incompetent, the panel noted that while the petitions alleged that the governorship election held in the state on September 21, 2024 was invalid because of corrupt practices and non-compliance with provisions of the Electoral Act, they failed to adduce any credible evidence to establish the allegation. According to the tribunal, while the petitioners made general and sweeping allegations against the outcome of the election, they failed to bring particulars of exact polling units or wards where the alleged widespread rigging and non-compliance occurred, describing some of the averments in the petition as vague. The tribunal held that allegations against Governor Okpebholo's victory were not substantiated. The tribunal said it found merit in all the preliminary objections that were filed to challenge the competence of the petition. The Independent National Electoral Commission declared that Okpebholo of the APC secured a total of 291,667 votes to defeat his closest rivalry, Ighodalo of the PDP, who got a total of 247,655 votes. Candidates of the AP scored a total of 252 votes. While dissatisfied with the result, AP and its candidates lodged a petition insisting that election was fraught with manifest irregularities they said included multiple thumbprinting, violence, intimidation, and harassment of voters, as well as alleged failure to use the bimodal voter accreditation system (BVAS) machines in various polling units in the state. It's quite a long read actually, but let me begin with you, Oduyemi. Again, this issue of going to court after elections. I mean, just before yesterday, a day before yesterday, that's on Tuesday, we heard issue of a leak document, the court's verdict that leaked, all over social media, and and that have sparked controversy in all social media handles. A lot of people have been saying quite a lot as regards to judgment delivery in Nigeria. And again, when the judgment came in, when the verdict was passed by the Edo State Tribunal, it was, affirmed. The governorship election was affirmed. His winning was affirmed by the tribunal court. Let me get your take as regards to that, considering the fact that the leaked document also, preempt the court in that regard.
Of course, whether with or excuse me, with or without the leaked document. The whole scenario is expected. In our local palace, we just want to pop up an exclamation into the very present. Insult is not intended to the AP candidate who took the matter to the tribunal that welcome to Nigeria. This is Nigeria politics.
Okay.
If any other thing should happen, we probably would have been taken back compared to what happened in 2015. Some in the political circle will tell you that what happened in 2015 may just be an experience of a lifetime. In this part of the world, the kind of politics we play here, where we are not surprised. The provisions of the law with regards to processes that must be adopted or deployed to unseat or prove your case at the tribunal, if you so allege that there are grounds of malpractices, intimidation, both buying, and the list is endless. The law also provides, the electoral law also provides that in you doing that, you must Your evidence must be substantiated and be convincing beyond reasonable doubt. And you know, this is how it works in the political circle, which why those who probably still have faith in the system, not that I don't have faith in the system, but those who probably come into politics and they are here to come to terms with ensure that you do your homework before the election itself. Right. Because the moment the tight knot that's supposed to have been effected is not done, you most likely will want to see some of this outcome. It's quite unfortunate.
And that's why they'll tell you, go to court.
The point is that they will just tell you to your face, make sure you do your own work, and then you just do your own work, win, and then let the court decide. And it boils down to whoever can assemble the best of brains in the land to apparently, you know, get the judgment in their favor. It's unfortunate, but for me, I'm not surprised.
All right, Dr. Henry, let me also get your reactions as regards to this.
It's expected. You know, going to court is not new in the political space here in Nigeria. I don't know exactly how one will expect different story from what has happened so far. But I want to say something a bit different from what has happened so far. And that goes to the electoral body, probably the lawmakers as well, to look for a way of enacting a law that will ensure that election litigations should be tackled before the winner of such election is being sworn into office, in order to avert most of this thing. We know how litigations are expensive in this part of the world. You know, if you don't have what it takes for you to even hire someone that will defend you in the court of law, it's another problem. And so for me, the electoral body, the lawmakers should look for a way of ensuring, I repeat, of ensuring that electoral litigations are settled before those persons who have assumed to have won such elections are being sworn into those offices. In other words, if they fail to do the needful, we keep seeing these things manifesting in the Nigerian political space. So having said that, the tribunal have presented the matter as it was also presented to them, and Governor Okpebholo has been declared the winner of that election. So if Ighodalo is not satisfied with the judgment of the tribunal, is also right to go to the next court and seek for redress of what has happened so far. But for me, just like my colleagues have said, it's not new in the Nigerian judiciary. It's not also new in the Nigerian political space that when something like this happens, we begin to worry or bother ourselves on things like that. So for me, it's expected. Like I said, if the opponent, that is Asue Ighodalo, is not satisfied with the judgment given so far, then you should go to appeal. Okay,
I'm quite particular about your thoughts when you said that you would advise the lawmakers to probably make a law where the election disputes, would be challenged, and then after the verdict results, the election results can now be pronounced, right? Now the issue is, I'm still wondering how possible that is going to happen, because this has been a way that Nigeria has always, once elections do not go the right way, of the way the other party wants it to be, they will want to challenge it in court. And to some extent, they've been, we've seen people, just accepting to the fact that, okay, this didn't go my way, I'll take it like that. Now, I'm still wondering if there will be any possibility of that still happening. What do you also think about that?
It is a right of any individual who felt that, look, things has not done in the right direction, to go to court and seek for a redress.
Which they did.
Which the opponent has done, okay? But back to what I have suggested earlier to the INEC and the law makers. Look, let me take example in the office of the executive governor of any state. Election has been conducted and someone has been declared a winner and sworn into that office of governor, right? And the person will start administering to the people of that state. And the opponent, will go to court that, look, this and that happened and so on and so forth. And the person will remain on seat. What I am suggesting is this, that look, it is the lawmaker that will put this into action, by making laws that will enable, any litigation that, that's arising from any election to be settled before whoever that is the winner of that election is sworn into that office. Because it is also an advantage for the other person. Yes, it is an advantage, no matter how you look at it. It's an advantage for the other person to have, advantage over the other person. So looking at it in that trajectory, it will also help to, help positioning our electoral system. See, whether we like it or not, if we don't do all of these as suggested, we'll keep having these infractions during and after election. Okay,
again, just like you have suggested, now, what would be the fate of the subjects, the citizens in that state, if that should happen? Considering the fact that this, in the case of this Edo State election, it was held in September 4, if I'm not, 21st of September 2024, and the tribunal are just giving the verdict, just yesterday. Now, what would be the fate of these people? This, let's take, for instance, the Edo State. Who would now, be in charge of the affairs of the state, pending when this decision will be made? Let's assume, okay, the lawmakers would want to, state that into law.
Well, this is not the first time things like that. That's in Edo State.
Okay.
During the time of Adam Soshomila and Professor Simon Ozombo, of the PDP, he won that election. But when Adam Soshomila challenged that result to court, he won.
No,
and that was when Adam was sworn as an executive governor.
Okay.
But all I'm saying is this: if the lawmakers main business of repositioning the electoral laws in this country, they can do it. Make a law in such a way that they have the period for elections. They also have period for these litigations to go through.
Again, because and if this sorry to interject you. Whilst this litigation is being going on, who would now be in charge of the affairs of the state? Do they need to have an interim governor, or do they need to have a sole administrator?
No. This thing can be done within the period. The tenure of the other person is still running.
And how confident are you that in that way the litigation wouldn't be, biased? It won't be. We won't have issues of corrupt practices and all of that.
They said in the local parties that with good arrangement that Satan can see good. Now the law is made for man. Do you understand my point? Yeah?
Okay.
And so this thing can be arranged, and election period can also be changed to cover this period as well, so that when this matter are finally concluded, all parties will be satisfied. Do you understand my point? Because in a situation where somebody is being sworn into office and litigation is still going, at the end of the day, even if the person is successfully removed from office, has he benefited from that office? Yes. It happens. I make reference to Osahim and Ozombo, not only him, Emeka Hedio of Imo State, and the rest of them.
All right, just a minute, just hold your thought. So do you hear me well? Again, do you see the INEC, not being, competent enough in this regard?
No, there are two ways to looking at that.
All right.
If you are on the other side of the divide, that you probably could not enjoy the provisions of loopholes as the electoral season has offered, you probably want to cry foul.
Okay.
But if you have you have been benefiting all along, particularly you are in the ruling party. You most likely know that just like the magic wand, whatsoever you so desire will fly. I want to throw my weight to the argument as to creating an enabling reforms within the Electoral Act that will so allow for the election season to also
to be addressed.
to also have, you know, an appendage period for all litigation matters, even though within this space, our space is not feasible. It's a laudable idea, but it's not feasible considering the state actors, the actors and the player. Just as my colleague said, the law was made for man, and it is man who probably purports the components of the law. Either way, look at, during Jonathan, there was a reform. During Buhari, a lot of reform. And the tail all reform. Even at that, just to okay electronic voting, you see those, the majority that were against it, because those who probably have nefarious intentions and some other biases, knowing fully well that should that kind of, you know, law and reforms fly, some of these people who have no business in politics will be phased out, because meaning that true power will now be returned to the people. Because look at all these people, the way and manner they get their funding, you know, the what you call it, the so-called political structure is all about money driven. You ensure that supports are. Haven't you seen some of the rallies, the stadium jam packed, and then another party come the following day? You know, these are stuff, and then you probably want to put up a system that will knock off that. They will so sincerely,
All right,
you know, resist that.